Okay, so today we're going to be multiplying a decimal by a whole number. This is going to be part 2 of our lessons on doing this. We've already looked at repeated addition, we touched on the box method, and today we are going to be looking at standard algorithm. So like I just said, we've already done repeated addition, where we just take the number and add it together so many times. That is a perfectly valid way to do multiplication like this when you have smaller numbers. The box method we've done, it can be a little confusing, but again, it does work if you feel comfortable with it. And so today we are going to be looking at the standard algorithm. Now in our standard algorithm, that is when we line our numbers up vertically. We put one number on top of the other. And we kind of multiply starting with our go number and then multiplying from the right to the left. And we're going to start doing that today. So let's go ahead and get started. Now in our problem here, we have each metal ball weighs 5/10 grams, or 0.5 grams. How much do 8 metal balls weigh? So we are going to go ahead and set this up in our standard algorithm. We are going to put our 8 on top, our 0.5, or our 5/10, and set up our multiplication. Now, if you'll notice, I set up the ones place together, which is the 0 and the 8. This would be the decimal for 8. Here's the 0. And there would be the tenths place. So that's how we would set this up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and erase this for right now, and we may come back to that here in a bit. Okay, I'm going to fix that 5. Now, so let's go ahead and multiply starting with our go number. So our go number is down here in the bottom right. We're going to multiply 5 times 8, and that is going to give us 40. Now we are going to count how many decimal places we have in both of our numbers, and then add our decimal place into our answer. So the numbers we are using right now are 5/10 and 8. There's only one number that is behind the decimal. That's our 5. So that means we're going to go up one place and add in our decimal. We're going to do a couple of these until y'all kind of get that. But that means our answer is going to be 4 0/10 grams. And don't worry, this may seem a little confusing, but we'll do a couple more. Now let's look at another number situation kind of like this. We'll do a practice one here. Let's say I've got 6 3/10, and we're going to multiply that by 0 and 5/10. So let's try this one together. Go ahead and write it down on your paper. 6 3/10 multiplied by 5/10. So I'm going to start with my go number, which again is in my bottom right, just like regular multiplication. I'm going to multiply 5 by 3, which is going to give me 15. And then 5 times 6 is going to give me 30, plus this 1 at the top is going to give me 31. Now, I'm going to count how many decimals did I use in this equation. And if you'll look, I've got 1 here, and I've got 1 here, which means I have 2. So, I'm going to count 2 numbers from the right to the left and then put in my decimal place. 1, 2, boom. My answer should be 3 15/100. And if you'll think about what's happening in this problem, I want half of 6 3/10 because I'm asking for half of a group. Oop, didn't mean to erase that. Let's put that back. Because I'm looking for half, or 5/10, of 6 3/10. Again, we're going to do a couple more of these. Now, let's look at this one. Mr. Guerrero rides his bike 2.3 miles every day. How far will he ride in 5 days? So let's go ahead and set up our problem. I'm going to switch over. So I've got 2.3 miles, and we are going to use 5 days. You see that I have lined up my ones and my tenths and any other number I may be using. So we're going to start with our go number, and since we have 5 just kind of sitting by itself, we're going to circle that and multiply through. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus that 1 is going to give me 11. Now, I only have one number behind my decimal place, which means I'm going to step up from the right to the left one spot. And my answer should be 11 miles and 5/10 of a mile. There we are. So again, this is not too hard. It can be a little confusing, but we'll have plenty of practice on this. Now let's go ahead and take a brain break. Why not? Do a fast one. I want to do this. And oof, I don't like that. Let's try that one more time. Maybe I need a more steady surface to write on. There we go. It looks a little bit better. Coming through, coming down. Big wrap through here. That looks pretty good. And then come straight down. Straight down. Whoop. Coming out again. Make the bottom. We'll come through there and through there. We'll put our little tab going across the top. I don't know if anyone can kind of figure out what I've done so far. There we go. And this is going to be Buzz Cola. Maybe we'll get a little, pretend like the cap just got popped, a little spray coming out there. And let's say we've got whoever's tapped this can of soda is really happy about it. Giving us a thumbs up. That's a horrible hand, but there it is. Pretty stoked about his soda. Buzz Cola. Give it up. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Alright, we have a candy factory makes 5 6/10 feet of taffy an hour. How much taffy will they make in 3 hours? So we have 5 6/10 feet per hour, and we're going to go for 3 hours. So let's go ahead and set up our problem. We have, what color do I want to use? Let's use purple. 5 6/10 being multiplied by 3. Again, I like to line up my ones place. And since we're using 3 whole hours, I'm going to put that in the ones place. And we're going to start with our go number. There he is. 3 times 6 is going to be 18. And if you'll notice, I'm trying to put the numbers in the correct places, and we'll talk about that one in class. And then we're going to have 3 times 5 is going to be 15, plus 1 more is going to give us 16. Now, if we have one number that is to the right of the decimal place that we are using, which is going to be our 6, we just have one of them. That means we're going to move from the right to the left, our decimal place, one spot. So, 168 is actually going to be 16 8/10. And if you think about it, if we pretended that we didn't have 6/10 right here, and we just had 5 times 3, well, 5 times 3 is equal to 15, right? So we can imagine that a number slightly bigger than 5 being multiplied by 3 will give us something slightly more than 15. And here it gave us 16.8. So if we really break it down, we have 5 times 3, but we also have 6/10 times 3. And so 3 times 6 is 18. We have that one number behind the decimal. Put our dot there. Add them up, and we'll still get 16 and 8/10. So there are our two numbers. Well, they should be one number. And that's pretty much it. If y'all want to do one more, let's do a practice one. Last one. Switch the paper up. I'm going to do grid paper. It's always neat looking. And we'll do just a practice problem. So let's say that I've got 9 and 1/10. And we're going to multiply it by 3 and 2/10. Now this is going to be a little bit harder than what we've been doing before. But the strategy is not going to change. I'm going to start with my go number, which is 2/10. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Okay, I can guarantee you it's not going to come out as 182, but we're going to fix that in a minute. Now we're going to move on to our 3. Now we are moving up a place value, so we need to put that 0 down. I know this isn't 30 like y'all would normally see when we move up a place value, but because we're looking at numbers that are so small, we need to put in zeros to hold a place value of higher numbers. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 9 is 27. We'll add it up. 2. It's going to be 11. It's going to be 9 and 2. Now, our number is not 2,912. What we need to do is count how many decimals we use in our multiplication, which is 1 and 2. So we are going to move our decimal place over 2 spots. So instead of 2,912, we're going to go 1 space, and then 2 spaces, and then boom, there's our decimal. 29 and 12 hundredths is going to be our answer. And don't worry, we'll get a little more practice with this. I hope y'all enjoyed this lesson. We're going to do some practice in class. So I will see y'all in a little bit.